Good morning. I guess it's still morning. Yes, it is morning. My name's Jed McLuhan, and I'm honored to be here today to celebrate all of these fellow College of Charleston athletes and their incredible achievements. Let me start by congratulating Tiffany and Stephanie both on your storied collegiate careers. Also want to just thank the Hall of Fame committee and also the Cougar Club for having us all here today. This is always such a nice brunch and nice way to start the weekend, and certainly a fun way to celebrate achievements from years in the past. So I too had the opportunity to attend the College of Charleston on an athletic scholarship, which seems like only yesterday, but knowing that it's 2019 now and looking around, it's hard for me to believe that it's been 20 years since I was actually here on the golf team and a student here at the college. I don't feel that old until I wake up with my kids on a Saturday morning, and then they make me feel that old. It was that same 20 years ago that I met Bruce McDonald. I'd heard about Bruce from our coach at the time, Daniel Dukes. He had been touting and recruiting this young man from Zimbabwe all of my sophomore year. Heard about him all over the year, the summer, and right up until he came to the school in the start of my junior year. I remember thinking, Zimbabwe, do they even play golf in Zimbabwe? I thought that was a cricket country. Turns out he plays cricket too. But I'll never forget meeting Bruce for the first time. I was sitting in Daniel's office up in the corner of Randolph Hall, which is where we went every day to find out where we were going to practice for the day. It was we didn't have a home course at the time, so we traveled around and played a lot of different areas, a lot of different golf courses, which was really nice. And Bruce walks in, and I see this kid standing there in jean shorts, some combat boots, and he has a big book bag on. And Daniel puts his extra large cup of Chick-fil-A Diet Coke down on the counter, which he always had. If anybody knows Daniel and you were ever in his office, there was always a cup of that. But he puts it down and he said, "This is Bruce McDonald." And I remember looking at him and going, man, he sure doesn't look like much of a golfer. But as many of you guys know, you can't really tell a golfer by what they look like. It's one of those sports where your appearance doesn't make any difference in how you can actually play the game. Bruce came up to me that day, and he greeted me in what became his typical greeting, which is, "How's it?" I guess that's how they say hello in Zimbabwe. But how's it? I'm Bruce. After that, after we exchanged some pleasantries there in Daniel's office, we found out we were going to be going to Turtle Point out on Kiowa that day. Turtle Point's one of the most beautiful and most difficult golf courses in all of our state. And I was pretty excited about that because we got to play there a lot, and I knew it very well, and I thought it would be a great place to test out this rookie's skills, see how he could handle it. So I was excited to take Bruce out there and all the rest of the new class of freshmen that year. So we get to the golf course, and everyone's on the driving range starting to warm up, and we were all standing there kind of looking around, sizing up everybody's golf swings, and as Jamie said, people watch Bruce. It's a different sound when he hits a golf ball. It's a different look. And it's exciting. I was excited. I could see that he had a lot of talent. I was impressed. He had what most people would call raw talent, which I think just means they have all the pieces, but maybe don't quite put them together in a consistent fashion. Bruce and I would be playing together that day, so I knew I'd get a front row seat to see how good he really was. We were the last group off that day, which is a good spot to be. So that also meant we were the last ones to leave the practice range. And I was walking over to the first tee, and I kind of turn around and I look over. I see Bruce like crouched down in front of everybody, kind of golf balls whizzing over his head. And I look over and I said, "What are you doing? Did you lose something?" And I look over and he's got 2 hands full of golf tees that he'd picked up off the range. And he goes, "No, I didn't lose anything. But these golf tees, they're everywhere. Look at all these things." I quickly learned that day that in Zimbabwe, golf tees cost money. Bruce quickly learned that day that in Charleston, golf tees are free in the pro shop, or he could keep sitting there and picking them up and try not to get hit by other golf balls. We played the back nine first that day, which was the tougher of the two nines. That golf course meanders through the maritime forest. It's a very tree-lined golf course. It also runs along the ocean. So the winds play a huge role in how difficult that golf course is. If anybody plays golf, you know that when it's windy, it's a lot harder. The wind was blowing pretty hard that day, 25 miles an hour, and I remember Bruce struggled pretty badly that first 9 holes. I think he shot 45, which is pretty terrible for a collegiate golfer. He's well on his way to barely breaking 90. And I remember thinking, this is our star recruit? What's going on here? We made the turn, and he played the other 9 in 1 under par, 35. I guess he remembered how to play golf again on the next 9. That was exciting to me to see that he knew how to turn it around, that he had some resiliency, that he could play. I learned a few things about him that day. I learned that he had an immense amount of talent, that he was incredibly driven, he was tough, but most importantly, I learned that he was different. I mean that in a good way. I could talk a lot today about Bruce's achievements on the golf course, his skills, his work ethic, his competitive nature, all the things that ultimately show up in the record books and make him one of the greatest golfers to ever played at the College of Charleston, and anywhere for that matter. But what I'd really like to convey today is how he's different. Bruce has always carried himself with a tremendous amount of respect and grace. It would be hard to meet him and not notice his authentic nature and charming politeness. And no, it's not just his accent. I do still wonder why he's single sometimes, but that's a conversation for another day. Bruce possesses this innate ability to genuinely be friendly. He makes people feel appreciated, and his attitude is always uplifting. And these are qualities that maybe could be learned, but Bruce just has them. This difference, coupled with all the golf accolades, is what makes him a Hall of Famer in my book. I've known him for over 20 years now, and he's been an incredibly close and loyal friend, and I couldn't be more proud to be celebrating him here today. Now I'm going to brag on him a little bit for some of his accolades, what he did on the golf course. He had many accomplishments over his 4 years here at the college, but his senior season is one that will surely go down in the record books and will be there for a long time. I'm thankful that he waited till his senior season to smash all of my records so I could have a place in this club too. It makes it a little more special if it was at least 1 year later that they were broken. In golf, the best player in the world wins about 10% of the time. The best player in the world. That senior season, Bruce played 12 golf tournaments. He won 2 of them, and he finished in the top 3 7 other times. That doesn't happen, even if your name is Tiger Woods. He had the 7th best scoring average in the country of any player at any level. That's pretty impressive. Doesn't matter where you're playing. That scoring average was 70.97, I think. To put that in perspective, if he was on the PGA Tour today, which hopefully he will be here shortly, that would be about 70th in the world. He was a second-team All-American. As Jamie mentioned earlier, being an All-American is one of the highest accolades that you can get as a golfer, I guess any sport for that matter. They give out honorable mention they give out All-Americans for first team, second team, third team, and an honorable mention. And there are 10 members on each of those teams. Bruce was a second-team All-American. That means he was one of the best, at least top 20 golfers in the nation. He might have been 11th. Who knows? We'll never know. But it was pretty impressive. He won conference championships. He was the conference player of the year. The list goes on and on. You guys can read about it. There's so many They had a hard time fitting him on the pamphlet, I think. It's safe to say that I think Bruce learned how to harbor and harness all of that raw talent into some consistency. He had an incredible year, incredible consistency, and an incredible career here at the College of Charleston. Bruce, I can't imagine a more deserving person for this honor. It was a pleasure to play alongside you and see your growth as a golfer and also as a person. I'm so thankful that I got to be your teammate, but I'm more thankful to be your friend. You've come a long way since those first days in your jean shorts here in College of Charleston, and I couldn't be more excited to induct you into the Hall of Fame. Please help me welcome 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Bruce McDonald.
Thanks, Jed, for those kind words. Those really mean a lot to me, and I'm going to come back to you in a second here. But good morning, everyone. What an honor it is to be standing up here today, back in Charleston and back at the College of Charleston. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate both Tiffany and Steffi on their induction today. And I know you guys are just as proud as I am. Thank you to Jerry Baker and Megan Spellman for all her hard work in organizing today. I know a lot has gone into it, so thank you very much. First off, I'd like to start by thanking these two tables over here to the left of some of my closest friends, some who have come in from out of town. You have all made a huge impact on my life, and since I've lived in the US, and thank you very much for being here today. Growing up in Zimbabwe, to be perfectly honest, I couldn't have dreamed of this day when my parents first put me on a plane to enroll at the College of Charleston. I'd like to thank the athletic department and Daniel Dukes for making my goal of going to university to play college golf a reality. How lucky did I get to come to a place such as Charleston? This city, the people in the college are so unique, and I've been very blessed to come here and have to such an amazing place. Mr. Duke started sending me letters when I was in lower six at high school, still playing used balladas and hitting persimmon woods, and he was detailing that how if I signed with Charleston, I would have all the golf balls and equipment that I needed, and tees. We would be wearing Tommy Hilfiger, which was very cool back then, and all of this sounded like heaven to me. And last and not least, we would be eating at the Golden Corral. As you can hear from my southern accent, growing up in Zimbabwe was very different to life in Charleston. I'd like to thank my teammates my first year for making that transition so much easier for me, especially John Assey, who's here today, for taking one for the team and rooming with the foreigner in the smallest dorm room you can imagine, where when Coach Steelman took us to move in, I looked him in the eye and asked him if this is where we were leaving the luggage. The other two incoming freshmen in 1999 were Kyle Bradley and Paul Brown. John, Kyle, and Paul became my closest friends over the next 4 years, and they still are today. I'd like to thank them and their families for taking me in over the holidays, all the Thanksgivings, July 4th that I spent with them, and treating me like one of their own. As Jed alluded to earlier, I remember that first day at practice very clearly. You know, teeing off the back nine at Turtle Point, it's like, you know, trying to hit a golf ball down a bowling lane in what felt like Hurricane Hugo had just arrived again, and shooting 45 on my first 9 holes. You know, I wasn't sure if I'd bitten off more than I could chew. I subsequently missed qualifying for the first event of the year, and needless to say, my college career was off to a bit of a rocky start. I did have a little bit of redemption at Turtle Point. I managed to win our tournament there our senior year, which was a big deal for me. Going into the final day, Brant Snedeker was leading and John Assey was in second place.
I was leading, Brant was second.
There you go. As you know, for those of you that have played Turtle Point, it was a windy day and I managed to shoot 69 and win the tournament. I'll never forget Brant Snedeker when he came up to the scorer's table and he looked up and he saw that I'd beaten him by a shot. He started crying. And I realized how much that meant to him, especially in 2012 when he won the FedEx Cup. I was now the one that was crying. Over the next 4 years, I think I only missed one other event, which I was very proud of. Jed McLuhan, who was a junior when I arrived in Charleston, he was the big man on campus. I could tell he was a big deal when we would get in the van to leave for a tournament, and we would be sitting outside of his house for about 30 minutes while Jed got ready. Then he would come strolling down, taking his time, and he would assume his place in the #1 player captain's chair for the ride. I always knew that if I could just beat Jed, that I knew that I was playing well. I'd have a chance to win tournaments. I'd like to thank Jed for teaching me a lot about work ethic, playing the game with strategy, and picking a golf course apart. He broke every record in the book, and I was lucky enough to break a few of his. And it's pretty cool to see still today, 20 years later, or 16, that some of those records we hold have stood the test of time. Thank you, Jed, for your friendship and guidance in helping me improve so rapidly from that lovely 45 at Turtle Point. I'd like to thank my coach, Mark Steelman, who couldn't make it today, for helping me achieve some personal goals and for being such a great team leader while I was at the college. I'll never forget, before our first event of my senior year, I said to him, we were sitting down somewhere, and I said to him, Steelman, I want to be an All-American. And we set about that goal together. And I was very proud when I got named an All-American that year. He always made it fun for us. He was one of the team, but he pushed us because there was many times when I would shoot 68 in qualifying and Steelman would shoot 67. He was a very good player in his own right. Growing up, I played a lot of other team sports, rugby, cricket, and the camaraderie you have with teammates is something that you can truly never replicate in life. And during those years of 99 to 2003, we really embodied what a team was. Even though golf is an individual sport, at the College of Charleston, we had a tight-knit group of guys. And I have no doubt in my mind that this team aspect, which was set in place by Mark, was a huge contributor to our success. I'd like to thank 3 very special families who can't be here today. Mr. and Mrs. Assey of Charleston, Katie and Charlie Cheek from Miami, Oklahoma, and Charlie and Alyssa Staley from Atlanta. They have all been like my adopted families in the United States, and without them, life would have been so much harder. H.S. Russell, Gordon Lovingood, and Mark Cruz, I'm thankful that all of you are here today. Thank you for your support, guidance, and advice throughout my career as a pro, and everything that you have all done for me. A few people who aren't here, I'd like to thank my coach, Roger Bayless from Zimbabwe, for teaching me how to play this game as a junior and helping me get to university in the States. Bubba Hightower, who is someone who I was very close to, and I know he's looking down and he's proud today. I'm also very fortunate to call Nick Price, who is a past #1 player in the world, a close friend of mine. When I was first coming over to the States, you know, he was my idol. He was a hero to me. And over the years, we've, you know, forged this relationship where he's given me so much advice about playing golf and this game at a professional level, which is very difficult. So thank you, Nick. I'd like to end off by thanking my family in Zimbabwe who can't be here. Thank you, Bryony and Paul, Sharon and Jeff, my nieces and nephews, and especially my mom and dad. They have sacrificed so much for me to play golf and to come to the States. Thank you for all your guidance and support over the years and allowing me and pushing me to follow my dreams. I know without the lessons you instilled in me, I wouldn't have lasted a month away from home. It's now been nearly 20 years. Fortunately, I've been able to meet people like these people who are here today, who have become like family to me in this great country. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for everything you've always done for me and helping me become who I am today. So, thank you very much.